Got a chance to see the new Dave Franco Alison Brie horror movie together? Let's talk about it right now. And yeah, we're going to talk about this new movie together. It's being released by Neon. It was shot in Australia, even though it's supposed to take place here in the United States. Once again, the Australians, movie makers, are making money, and the crews in the United States get nothing. So, and if you're asking me why was it shot in Australia by American actors with an American production company, and it was in Australia? So, the director here, I believe, is Australian. I went back and looked at his credits. He barely has any. One of them, though, is an Australian television show. So I believe, it doesn't say that he's Australian, but I believe he is, in which case they can get the Australian tax credits. I was just on the phone with, or on a Zoom call with another horror movie that's looking for financing, and part of the financing was coming from Australia. So Australia may have put money towards this. So the actual budget for it was $17 million, which is extremely high for this film. Unless Alison Brie and Dave Franco were taking the lion's share of that, although I saw that they were also producers on this, or EPs on this. I can't understand where the money went. The movie has basically three main actors in the entire movie, and it's mostly just them two. So it was made to be a low-budget film. There are some effects in here as well, but it was the guy, Michael Shanks, is the writer and director on this. This is more money than he's ever seen, I'm sure. How he got this gig, I'll never know. Not that the directing was bad. It wasn't. It was a very odd film. So this is not going to be a long review because there's not much to this film. It's basically just those two actors going through shit. But anyway, so I don't know. I think that there's a tax credit of 30% in Australia. And then if the Australians actually gave money to it, they didn't have to raise much after that. So there's two ways with the tax credit. You can sell it off to investors, or you can, put in for it to remove it from the budget. Either way, then if you sell it off, then there's no paying it back. If an investor puts money towards it, then they will it's basically the same type of thing as selling it off. So the movie got made after the tax credit of 30%, it basically went down to 11%. And the investor just takes that, the plus whatever percentage. Usually 10% or whatever. And so from there, they had to raise, $11 million that they had to pay back. But they probably had some distribution deals and stuff like that they were able to sell off. But right now, the movie has lost money. So at 17 million, even at 11 million, even if you discount that down to 11 million, the movie still had to make like almost $30 million. So not that they're only at 25 right now. So will they make another 5 mil with other distribution? Probably. They had almost no international though. So I don't know if it's getting done international later. Neon just didn't have international for the most part, because they made like less than $1 million in international, which that's just weird. But it is not a typical horror film. It's a body horror film. And like I would call The Substance like a body horror film, where you just have your human bodies just doing weird shit. And it's kind of gross. So the basic storyline is that we have a couple here that's going through changes. So Tim, who's played by Dave Franco, he has a desire to be in a band. So he's a guitarist. He wants to be in a band. His buddies are in a band, and one of his buddies is Alison Brie, is his sister, and that's how they got together. And now they're living together, and they decide to move out to the country, a couple hours away from the city. So the opening scene with this little party is pretty much the only time you see any other characters. There's, probably 4 or 5 speaking characters in there, and the rest are all extras. And, she has her best friend that she has one call with later on. That's it. Again, she's probably a 2-day player, and that's it. I have no idea how long it took to. I think So put it this way: I just did a budget for Destiny Aurora, which is my sci-fi, epic sci-fi, where I have ships battling and all the rest of the stuff, and I got the budget down to $15 million. I see no comparison between an epic sci-fi and this. They had to build one set. They had, so they go out to the country. So he's not happy about it. She starts a job as a teacher in this small school. So we have the party in one set, and then we have the second set, which is the school, which could have been shot anywhere. You barely ever. I don't think you even see a class. I think you have to see one classroom. So they probably shot it in a real school, but it was probably 1 or 2 days, and that's it. The rest of the movie takes place in the house for the most part, and outside the house, and then on the road, and then in the woods. Okay? And then there's a hole in the woods where we start with this cold open of people looking. I thought they were looking for dogs originally because they were whistling and all this other stuff. And then we see the dogs down in the hole. How the dogs got in the hole, how the dogs got out of the hole, I have no idea, because Alison Brie and Dave Franco had to climb out of it. So, how did the dogs get in and out of there? I'm very confused by that. But that was definitely built. The cavern was definitely built because it looked like Alien. It had all these veins coming out of this pool and around it. And so when you drink this water, your soulmate or whatever else, you're drawn to them to the point where you are sticking to them and becoming one. If the person is not your soulmate or whatever, or if you're not open to this joining, then you come out looking like an abomination. Okay? So that's the thing. So the 2 dogs that we see in the very beginning in the first scene, they come out looking like something out of The Thing. So, I mean, the special effects are pretty good. Whether they're practical effects, I'm sure the CGI when they're putting their hands into one of each other's skins, that definitely was CGI, for sure. I don't think any of that had to do with real stuff. Unless, maybe it was. I mean, they can do fake skin now where you can kind of stretch it and stuff like that. So it was. I guess it's possible to do part of it and then just close up the seams in CGI. Possible. And that would make it cheaper, which again would make this whole conundrum of why it's so expensive crazy. Anyway, before we go on, I want to make sure that you give me a thumbs up, like this video, and on top of that, if you can share it out there, that'd be great. And if you can subscribe, ring that bell, ding ding, that'd be awesome too. Check out all of my stuff on Amazon. Just type my name in, or there's a link in the description below, because as I said at the beginning, I'm a writer. And you'll see my 4-novel quadrilogy, which is what I just did the budget on today, Destiny Aurora. It was made into a board game, an RPG, and it's also on Audible. It was made into a graphic novel, which is actually behind me. All this stuff. And it's an amalgamation of Guardians of the Galaxy and Star Trek, Star Wars. It's got a little bit of everything because I love all that stuff. So I kind of bit piece and pieces together to make that. But if you like that kind of stuff, I think you really like this. And it's got 4 books to it. And then we have my YA fantasy, Tales of Ravenor, the Iron Witch, which is like Game of Thrones meets How to Train Your Dragon. So if you like magic and dragons and riding creatures and everything, you're going to love that. And then my new comic, Fairy Tales of Terror, has launched a week ago. We've passed a little over a week now. We are approaching $6,000 now. We have locked 3 stretch goals because it's fully funded, including a Psycho Cinderella miniature, because this has to do with Psycho Cinderella. We have a killer Captain Hook. They came out of the books. They're running around New York City. And we have Tiger Lily from Neverland chasing them down to stop them from doing their nefarious plan, of which we don't know what it is yet. It's pretty awesome. Anyway, definitely check that out. Jump in there now. We're going to have exclusives only for crowdfunding. So the QR code is here, or the link in the description below. I do sign them, so it might be a collector's item in the future. So definitely check that out. And you can even get Destiny Aurora or the fantasy book on the Kickstarter as well. So and I do sign them there as well. All right, so let's jump back into Together. I heard some good things about this movie, which is why I went. It was only playing one time, and I was afraid it was going to come out of the theater. I do like Alison Brie. Dave Franco, I don't think he has the chops that she does. I really liked her in Glow. And the movie that she just did, Freelance. Everybody hated that movie. I thought that movie had a lot of charm. So I like that movie. But I think she's really good. And so this, again, very, very Substance type. Although the Substance I hated the ending of Substance. I abhorred. Like, I wish I had left after 2/3 of the movie was over. I would have liked the movie better. But the last third of the film totally lost me. My initial interaction with that and my rating would have been here. The last third of the movie brought it down to here. That's how much I hated the last third of the movie. But that one at least was trying to say something. This doesn't have anything to say at all. We get some weird stuff about the rats being, dying and making smells, and something weird about his mom. His dad died, and she continued to sleep next to the dead body. I don't know what the hell that was all about. That has absolutely no bearing on the movie at all. It's just kind of thrown in there, which doesn't adhere us to these people at all. We really don't know much about them personally at all, besides what they do, and that they're always fighting. They love each other, but they're always fighting. And he doesn't have a job. I don't know, man. It's just weird. It's just all weird. But anyway, after they drink the water, they start getting drawn to one another. They start sticking together. They start melding, all this stuff. So again, there's not much to tell about the story. Exactly what you see in the trailer is what the movie is. So, and it gets, crazy at times and stuff like that. But I do like the Plato thing they brought in. So one of the teachers tells her the story of Plato, or one of his writings, that initially each human had actually 4 arms and 4 legs. And they were too powerful, and the gods felt that they were too powerful, so he separated them into 2 pieces of 2 arms and 2 legs, and 1 head as opposed to 2 heads, or 2 faces, he says. Doesn't even say head. And on top of that, they have that now they spend the rest of their life looking for their other half. Hence the soulmate. So that's the basis behind this story. I think that the writer-director, Michael Shanks, read something from Plato and says, hey, I can make a whole movie on this. Okay. If you say so, man. So anyway, I'm not going to tell you what happens or what the end result is or whatever else. But that's the basic plot of the story. And it's just a little bit too weird for me. Like, again, the substance had something to it. It was about a woman that was aging out, and she would have done anything to not age out, to the point where she gave birth to her own clone or whatever, which doesn't really make any sense. But this doesn't make any sense either. So, so you got to go with it, you know. So, was it enjoyable? I don't know. I guess it was okay. So on a scale from, so the acting's good. Of course, they have chemistry because they're already married. They've been married for years. So they already have chemistry. I think their acting together is good. I think they made this very slim thing very, very dynamic, at least, and at least fun to watch. Even though I didn't like the fact that they were constantly fighting. And then we have a sex scene in there, and then he gets stuck in her, and I'm like, ooh, you know, I had to flinch at that shit. It was nasty. It says, like, one of the posts says date night. I'm like, I don't know if this is a date night movie. You might want to wait till next week with Downton Abbey for that. So on a scale from 1 to 10, I don't know. It's better. It's not an average film, and it tried to do something new. I'll give it that. So I'm going to give it a 6 just for effort. Again, I have no idea why this cost $17 million. I'm very, very stumped, especially shooting in Australia with no unions. I have no idea why it cost that. If anybody knows, you let me know, all right? This is probably not a movie I'm going to watch again, so I think I'm going to stick at a 6. It's probably more like a 5.5. All right, well, that's it for me. Remember to give me a like, give me a thumbs up if you can. If you can't subscribe, please do. Ring that bell, ding, ding. Share this video out there. Check out my stuff on Amazon. Type my name in or the link in the description below. And on top of that, jump right into Fairy Tales of Terror. I think you're going to love it. The artwork interior is great. I didn't do the artwork myself. I just did the writing. Writing's great, too. QR code here. Link in the description below. Definitely go check it out. All right? Thanks, guys, and everybody who's jumped in already, I appreciate your support. Have a great week.